Thinking about leaving your soul-sucking 9 to 5 job, one of the biggest struggles I see people, especially as women, face is the idea of having that safety net, that enticing perks and benefits, and listening to that head trash of what will people think if I leave. I totally get it, and I've been where you are. That's why I created a free guide to help you if you're thinking about putting in that notice. It's called Unlocking Your Exit Plan. Discover 5 things you need to do before leaving your 9 to 5. This guide is filled with worksheets and steps so you will have hand holding along the way. You can download your copy in the link in the show notes, and again, it's totally free. Now back to today's episode. Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of the Hello CS Dorsey podcast. Today's episode, it's just me. So it's me on this episode on today, and I'm really excited to sit here and talk with you guys about some really, I guess, not so fun or awesome things that I've been up to here lately. I'm going to talk about what I've been doing, what I've been up to, and what I plan to do for the future. The future meaning 2023. So where have I been and what I've been up to? So I have been around. I definitely been around, but the thing of it is I have been definitely feeling around this time of year, especially in October, like I need a break. So generally what happens is the beginning of the year I go full force, and then the summer kind of like drop off, and then when the fall comes I tend to take a break. I just get burnt out for some reason, and then it's like I have to take a month off. I took time away from doing workshops, doing my boot camp, and I took away time from my podcast as well. So this year has just been a really big, kind of like a struggle for me as far as my podcast go. I've been recording episodes here and there, not really so much focus on my podcast, which I really do need to focus on it, and I will talk about that a little later on. But yeah, I don't know, I just been feeling like I've been in this really, weird funk, and that happens. And I'm pretty sure with you starting your podcast and with you doing your episodes, you get to a point in your podcast or in your business where you're just like no longer motivated to continue on. And I have it every year, and I generally have it every year around October. So October, November, December, those are my months where it's just like, ugh. Like, I just want to curl up and drink hot chocolate and lay in the bed. So that's generally, how I feel. It's almost every single year, and I'm starting to see a pattern. I had the same thing last year where I was feeling the same funk or whatever you want to call it. But it's okay. Like, everybody has this when you have a business, when you have a podcast or anything that you do, you don't feel creative, you don't feel motivated, and it's okay. The most important thing is to recognize that and understand it and pivot and say, what can I do moving forward? How can I get out of this funk that I'm in? I know that I'm in a funk of not being creative, not being motivated, and not wanting to do anything. So what can I do to slowly get out of it? And the big win is getting out of it. What I would do is just say, start planning for next year, next month, next week, however you want to do it. Just start planning for it. Write down your goals, shift things. Don't do the same things that you used to do, like for your podcast. So if you just stuck with one particular episode or one particular style in your podcast, switch it up. Change it up. So for me, I do a lot of interviews. I do a lot of interviews of entrepreneurs and business owners, and I'm really thinking about just having it to where as though I talk a little bit more, because I have a lot to share. But sometimes I'm like, well, I don't know what to say, and I teach people this all the time on different ideas, different prompts, different things that you can do. I have a list of prompts and I have a list of ideas that I want to do. But yeah, I'm definitely in the same boat as everyone else when it comes to keeping the momentum going. So I want to encourage you to change it up a little bit. Change your style, change what you've been doing. And if you don't know what that is, you could definitely email me, or you can DM me on Instagram, and let's brainstorm together, because don't worry, we've all been there. I'm in it right now, so don't worry. Another thing, I've been sick. Not COVID related, but I've been sick. I had a flu, and I have not had a flu since the whole shutdown. Since, I want to say I haven't had a flu in 2019. Toward the beginning of 2019, I had the flu really bad. And then in 2020, that's when the whole shutdown with COVID and everything. I didn't get sick that year. I didn't get sick in 2021, and then I didn't get sick this year until the end of this year. So I haven't had no cold, no flu or anything for almost 3 years. And I tell you, I was a big baby. I was like, oh, Mom. I was a baby. I'm telling you, I just didn't like it. It definitely put me in the bed. I could not get out of bed. I slept a lot. I guess I wouldn't call that a bad thing. I guess it's a pretty, a good thing, just to have that rest, because I've been on the go. I've been go, nonstop. So I'm kind of happy that my body said, Candace, you need to sit down somewhere and you need to get some rest. So it could be a good thing, bad thing, but I just don't like the feeling of it, the throat burning and all that. It's just not for me. So I was sick. I was sick for almost 2 weeks, I want to say. I got over it. I'm so grateful that I did. And like I said, it was not COVID related. So I'm really grateful that it wasn't. So got over that. Another thing, I launched and I revamped the podcast launch kit. So I actually spruced it up a little bit. So I added pages to it. I changed some of the style of the pages as well. And yeah, it is now more so that podcasters, if you're starting a podcast, you can be a little bit more organized. So that was my focus for the podcast launch kit, because it's not just all about, having ideas on what to say or how to conduct or how to start, how to launch your podcast. That's the easy part. The hard part is the number one, the momentum and being organized. So I really want to add a little bit more of that in there to help you stay on the schedule. So not only have a monthly schedule, but have a weekly schedule, have a daily schedule as well when you recording it, because it's just more than just recording a podcast. You have to edit. You have to do the graphics for it. Especially if you have guests, you have to have some sort of workflow or things in place in order to keep your podcast going. What I really want to focus on, I think next year, is starting to teach those who start a podcast, is to start teaching them how to create a workflow for your podcast, especially when you have guests, so that you are not in it. So when someone say, I want to be on your podcast, they email you, and then you say, okay, and you're not going back and forth to schedule time for them to be on your podcast. Is more of, okay, here's my link. You fill out the form, you pick a date that I have available, and then you get reminders. Not only that, you will get I won't say procedures, but you will get a welcome letter on what is needed for the podcast. A lot of people do not read it because no one ever emails me their picture ahead of time. So that lets me know that they're not reading my welcome letter. But I have a welcome letter as well, what to expect, what to do, and then the reminders leading up to the podcast. And then once the interview starts, then once it ends, they will get emails, thank you emails, and then also a email stated when the podcast is live. So some pieces of it is manually emailing them when the podcast is live, but you completely automate this, especially when you have a lot of guests. You could completely automate this whole thing. So yeah, that's why I kind of want to focus on more automation for your podcast and having some sort of workflow so you don't have to be in it all the time and to help free up your time. So that's one of the things that I do want to focus on next year. So, well, I've given you one of the things that I want to focus on next year, but what are my plans for the future? I definitely want to speak to this podcast first, and I actually had this second to talk about. But I want to keep my podcast going. Whether I publish every day, not every day, sorry, every week. Whether I publish every week or 2 times a month, I still want to keep this going. I still want to have some episodes going just so people can listen. And this podcast is definitely not going away. I do like to take breaks in between, but I don't want to completely shut down my podcast at all because I still have people listening to it. And I think a lot of the guests that I had on there were really helpful, really motivating, and it definitely can get you going, especially in your business. So I have a lot of guests that have business tips just to help you get started. So I want to keep that going. I love that aspect of it. There's really nothing that I do. Like, I get people requesting to be on my podcast, and I don't even have to go out and find people. So if I feel like it's a good fit, then I'll go ahead and add them on. I generally get maybe, I want to say between 4 to 5 requests, used to be more than that, requests a month for people to be on my podcast. I mean, those are my episodes right there. There's really nothing that I have to do or plan out, but I do want to start talking more. I do like this. I want you guys to hear me more, find out a little bit more about me, because I've noticed in past episodes, I don't say anything. I don't really talk. I just let my guests talk for the most part. So that's my plan for next year. Definitely want to do more TikTok videos. I noticed there's a little bit more engagement when I post a TikTok video. Right now, I'm posting about budgeting. So I do show when I'm cash stuffing my savings challenges. I do show that on TikTok. It's a few videos. I show that and I get a lot of likes from that. YouTube is okay. YouTube Shorts is so much better than YouTube regular nowadays. If you ever plan on doing that and do the shorts, you will get more views. But as far as like long form videos, that's pretty much, if you want to monetize it, that's where the monetization really lies, is the long form videos and having so many subscribers and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I'm really starting to get into TikTok, so I want to do more TikTok videos. I also want to do an online store, so not just for digital products, for physical products as well, which brings me to me want to dip into the physical product space. So I'm a very creative person. I like making things, so I'm planning, if all goes well, I'm planning on more creative items and actually putting it in my shop. I don't know if I'm going to do a Shopify or if I'm going to do Squarespace. Right now, Squarespace worked well for me, but Shopify is a little bit better for people as far as like having a physical product and digital product business. So I'm torn between two. I'll pick it later, but I do want to have a online store and just have it available for if people want to purchase any of my creative items. I want to have that. I know this is a little random, but I do want to renew my real estate license. So not only to the 10 million things that I do have a real estate license, and I want to renew that. I need to renew that because it actually expires next year. So that's on my list of things to do. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. That's it for me. I just want to say that I really do enjoy talking with you guys. I enjoy it so much. And sometimes what happens is we forget what we're really doing things for. You know, we get so caught up in revenue, want to make money, likes, comments, all of that. But we don't focus on impact. We don't focus on the impact that we make on other people. If you can impact one person, then you're doing the work. You're doing a great work. and impacting people in the positive way, not impacting them in a negative way. Because there's a lot of people out there that have an impact on people and it's negative. But impacting people in a positive way. It's a lot of things going on, economy and everything, and everybody know, you should know, being on my podcast, that I am a strong believer in God and in Jesus Christ and Holy Spirit. Can't do nothing without all three. So my faith is in Jesus. My faith is in Christ. So all this noise that's going on and, people being really shaky and scary about the economy, I don't worry about it because I know where my blessings lie. And I know that, he's going to take care of his own. So I don't get shaky about that. But it's also one of them things where you do want to be smart about the decisions that you make. Prices and everything has gone up. I spent almost $100 on groceries and I only got like 2 or 3 bags. That's an issue. That's definitely an issue for me. I say all that to just say, keep your faith, trust in God, and know He has your best interests at heart. Okay? So don't get shaky, don't get weary, don't get, all bent out of shape about what's going on with everything. Just keep your hands in His hands and you'll be okay. Okay? All right. Thank you so much for tuning in and staying to the end of this episode. I really do appreciate you guys. Like I said, I'm going to try and talk more. If you like this episode, definitely, I'm sorry, this is not YouTube or anything. I was going to say, give me a thumbs up. Definitely give me a review, DM me on Instagram, take a snapshot of wherever you listen to this episode, take a snapshot of it and tag me on Instagram and let me know how you like this episode. And yeah, have a great day. Bye everyone.